So you want to buy a Tesla, but you're wondering how much it actually costs to buy and maintain to see if you can fit it into your monthly budget. Well, I'll tell you right now that depending on where you live, Teslas probably aren't as expensive as you might believe, with government rebates and other incentives to alleviate their monthly cost. So in today's video, we'll take a look at how much my current 2024 Tesla Model 3 costs me, why I'm financing the car instead of leasing it, like my last 2021 Model 3 that I previously owned, along with other costs that you need to be aware of if you own a Tesla. Let's get into it. To kick things off here, whether you're buying a Tesla or any other car, there are generally certain guidelines relative to your income that you'll want to maintain. Otherwise, Dave Ramsey is going to be pretty disappointed in you.
You have no idea what you just said.
So I don't want to turn this into a finance video. That's what my other channel's for. But the bottom line is that we're talking affording a Tesla. And if you're making $30K a year, that's just not going to cut it. Stop the video right now and go work on increasing your value to society to pull in more dough every month. Now, there are various trains of thought here as to how much you should spend on a car, but generally speaking, there are three main guidelines that people who care about financial literacy try to follow. It's called the 20-4-10 rule, where you put at least 20% of the car's purchase price as a down payment, you limit the loan to a 4-year term to lower your total interest paid, and you keep the total monthly car expenses, including your loan payments, insurance, and maintenance, below 10% of your gross monthly income. So this would mean that for a base Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive Tesla, the total cost after all fees and taxes as a resident of California in this case, you're looking at a sticker price of $48,960 out the door. In this case, with 20% down being $9,800, and if financed over 4 years at a current 1.99% interest rate offered by Tesla at the time of filming this video, we'd be looking at $849 in monthly financing costs. And let's assume that your insurance is, say, around $80 per month. This means a total of $930 per month to purchase a brand new entry-level Tesla. And at 10% of your gross monthly income, this would mean you'd want to be making around 10 grand and up per month to hit that 10% target. But hey, I know what you're thinking, 10K a month, I don't make that, but I still want a Tesla, right? Well, in comes those longer financing terms, which now allow borrowers to finance cars up to 7 years in the US generally, and 8 years here in Canada, bringing down the monthly payment drastically. For comparison, say here in the previous example, financed over 4 years, your monthly payment is $850, but you're looking at a total of only $1,611 in paid interest over those 4 years. But if we bump up that financing to 7 years, well then the interest rate bumps up to 5.69% and your monthly payment drops to $566. However, you're paying a total of $8,400 in interest over those 7 years, equal to 17% of the car's value, which is kind of a lot. And look, I'm not here to tell you how long you should finance your Tesla for. That's a decision that you'll need to make for yourself. Just make sure that your debt isn't being passed on to your kids.
For how long?
427.
Okay, I know this is a lot of numbers and hopefully you're still following me at this point, but the title of the video is what my Tesla costs. And the beauty with Teslas and other EVs is that they often qualify for government incentives. Big round of applause here. So depending on where you live, government incentives will greatly differ. But here in the province of Quebec in Canada, the government's given me a portion of my own tax dollars back to me in the form of an EV incentive for a total sum of $12,500. Not bad. So I bought my Model 3 Standard Range Plus in August, right before the 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs were slapped on in Canada and the US, meaning I paid a total price of, drumroll, $58,600 after tax. Gotta love Quebec sales tax. What did I do with the $12,500 worth of incentives though? Well, I went out and bought a brand new boat. No, just joking, I entirely put it down on the price of the car as the down payment, bringing the total loan down to roughly $47,000, including all of the other fees and nonsense that you have to pay for when purchasing a car new. So in theory here though, we could say that I put around 21% of the car's value down on the car. First check completed. Did I finance the car over 4 years though? No, I did not. I financed it for a bit longer because I can make a much higher return on my money investing it in real estate and other assets than spending it on my car each month, considering the interest rate is around 5%. Yeah, I just said that. But the real question is, does the car's monthly payment fall below 10% of my monthly gross income? Yeah, it does, because I financed it for more than 4 years. It's called bending the rules a bit. You might want to try it out. From here, my monthly insurance is $110 all in, and I'd highly recommend that you shop around for various different quotes. Seriously, I was paying nearly double that a year ago. Didn't think to shop around, so do it. The bottom line though is that you need to look at how much money you're making to decide if financing a car makes sense for you. And I'll just leave this one here. Take the advice only if you want it, but I would never finance a car like this if I didn't already own my house, have a growing real estate portfolio, a decent investment portfolio of stocks and ETFs, and a business that makes me decent income. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for financial failure. All right, one thing I love about having a Tesla though is charging at home. Not only does it save me from freezing my balls off at the pump in the harsh Canadian winters, but it's also incredibly cheap. Basically, the cost to charge your Tesla comes down to the kilowatt hours that you're sucking from the grid to feed your Tesla. And here in the province of Quebec, where I live, it costs an average of around 7.5 cents per kilowatt hours, which I will admit is dirt cheap. And if we look in the charging tab of my Tesla app, we can see that in October I used 430 kilowatt hours, and in November I used 580, mainly because I had to head out of town and use superchargers in November. Usually though, I charge 95% of the time on my home charger, meaning 580 kilowatt hours would have only cost me $44 total. That is insanely cheap. 430 kilowatt hours in October was around $32. Just nuts how cheap that is. And I did the math a couple of weeks ago. It ends up being roughly $2 per 100 kilometers driven, or $2 per 62 miles if you're in the US. Like, that is just crazy. Okay, let's talk about maintenance a bit here, because that's considered to be one of the advantages of owning a Tesla. Well, like I said, I owned a 2021 Model 3 for 4 years on a lease. And in that time, I had some work done because the suspension was pretty crappy, I'll admit, but everything was under warranty, luckily. I've never paid a cent in maintenance other than filters and other petty costs, and that was with over 40,000 miles on the car. That said, I did have a couple of issues like rust and other body issues, but these are all things I'm being super preventative of now with my new car, making sure to apply, rust prevention and using mud flaps to avoid paint degradation during the harsh winters that we unfortunately experience here. Now, if you're worried about the classic $30,000 battery swap stories that deter certain people from buying a Tesla, with reason mind you, just know that Tesla's warranty on the battery is pretty decent at 8 years or certain mileage thresholds depending on the car in question. But yeah, repairing a Tesla can be pretty costly if you do get into an accident or a fender bender. In fact, a couple of years ago, one of my tenants drove into my parked car and completely bent their rear fender. I'll try to find a photo here so I can put it on screen. The repair cost for that cost just over $6,000, which was covered by insurance, mind you, but still, Teslas come with premium prices for repairs. Definitely keep that one in mind. Overall, buying and owning a Tesla is more than just acquiring a vehicle. It's an investment in technology, sustainability, and really an enhanced driving experience. I mean, I've enjoyed my experience so much that I'm now on my second vehicle. And while the upfront cost of a Tesla can be higher than traditional vehicles, factors like those reduced fuel expenses over years of ownership, lower maintenance costs, and potential tax incentives often make it a financially viable option in the long run, which are all reasons that I've opted for a Tesla. However, it is essential to consider all aspects of Tesla ownership, including charging infrastructure, insurance premiums, and the depreciation curve, which has become absolutely brutal for Teslas, especially after 4 to 5 years when your financing will be over. So like most cars, it's a money pit, but hey, you'll enjoy yourself for the time being. Most likely. So I'd love to know, would you buy, finance, or lease a Tesla? Let me know down below in the comments. And by the way, if you own a Tesla right now, one way that you can easily support the channel if you enjoyed today's video is to head on down to the link down below in this video's description and pinned comment to my Amazon storefront to check out some accessories for your Tesla. I get a small kickback on your purchases and yeah, helps the channel out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.